Okay, share my screen. So now we will be continuing and developing SQL databases. So let's click launch. Right. This. Okay, we will be optimizing performance for database instances. So there are one, two, and three exercises here. Let's click start. Okay. So the optimizing performance for database instances part one module provides you with instructions and devices to develop your hands-on skill in the following topics. Number one is working with DB database, working with dynamic management views, working with memory manager. So lab time, it will take approximately 40 minutes to complete this lab. So there are some objectives covered in this lab. Number one is demonstrate how to optimize the performance of MDB by configuring it. Number two, demonstrate how to set the memory options to optimize memory configuration of the server. Uh-huh. Next is demonstrate how to obtain information on the weight statistic using the dynamic management view. Next is demonstrate how to monitor and analyze storage issues on and off issues using DMP. Okay, so that diagram, we need to turn on VLAB S101. So after we have turned on the VLAB S101, let's click on next. So exercise number one. Working with MDB database. The MDB is a system database that stores all the types of database objects such as user-defined tables, indexes, global and local temporary tables, and so on. But MDB database does not allow you to perform certain tasks. Some of them are as follows. Back up or restore database, drop the database, set the database to offline mode. Okay, so lastly is rename the database. So in this exercise, we will learn how to work with a MDB database. So task number one, figure the MDB database to optimize the performance. So in this task, you will perform the following operations by executing the certain system queries in the MDB database. View the size of the MDB database and file growth parameters. Monitor the disk based on the temp database using the sys.pm underscore db underscore file underscore space underscore usage dynamic management view. So determine the amount of the free space in the temp database. Lastly is determine the list of active transactions and the longest running transaction in the database. So step number one, we have turned on the pre-lab SQL 01. Then let's launch Microsoft SQL Server Management Module. So step number two, is we need to connect to our pre-lab SQL 01. So let's wait until this Microsoft SQL Server Management open. Okay, so the dialog box appears. Let's click connect. Okay, so after we have click connect, we need to Object Explorer and then database, and then right click. Ah, then database, and then we need to right click temp right click temp and let's go to properties. So after you have opened the properties, okay, the right page, under the select the page, click option, and options, and then after we click the option, go to recovery model and then simple. Okay. So recovery model is set to simple and then let's click on OK. Okay. So note, a simple recovery model is the most basic recovery model in the SQL Server. It doesn't require any log backups. So step number 6 is we need to create a new query. Let's close this one and then let's minimize our Object Explorer. And then we need to copy this code right here. Copy, paste. So let's click execute. As you can see, there are 5 data inside this code. Then this is a system query. The query displays the file name, file size, growth value, and the growth increment. Okay, so step number 7 is you can see we have executed step number 7. And then let's move on to step number 8. So step number 8, we need to create another query. Okay, copy this code right here. As you can see, there are 3 pages, 3632, and 3 spaces, and B is 28.375000. So this is a system query. The query displays the free space and the free pages available in TempDB database. The free space is calculated in megabytes. Note, the result is dynamic in nature and can differ in a product environment. So step number 9 is we need to create another query, and then we need to select transaction ID from system.tm. Execute. So as you can see, walang laman ng ating transaction ID. So this is a system query. The query determines the longest running transaction. So as you can see, walang laman. And then let's click on next. Okay, so exercise number 2, working with dynamic management views. So dynamic management views, DMVs, provide server-state information that helps to monitor the database, diagnose and troubleshoot problems. The DMVs are present in the SYS schema. The DMVs begin with DM underscore. So in this exercise, you will learn how to work with dynamic management views. So task number 1, obtain information on weight statistics. When you troubleshoot the SQL Server performance, you must initially check for weight statistics. The weight statistics include the concept of the queues and weights. In this task, you will perform the following operations to obtain information on weight statistics using this here in the system queries. Okay, so step number 1, in the Object Explorer, we will go to System Database and click Master. So we are here at the master database, so we need to create a new query. As you can see, we are at the master databases. So we need to use this code right here, copy. Right. So now let's click execute. As you can see, there are 100 rows affected. So we have selected 100 rows. Okay, so step number 2, we have executed successfully. So step number 3 is we need to create another query. So we will select the sum, okay. Okay, so let's copy this code right here and then let's paste. And then execute. As you can see, there are only but the total signal wait time of CPU is 1039162, and then the percentage 16.597,600. Okay. So step number 5 is so the result will be dynamic in nature and can differ from other environment. That means this can be different from other computers as well. Okay, so we need to create another query in the master database again. And then we need to select the blocking connection session. Okay, see, okay, and then let's click execute. So this is a system query. In this query, the DFBs display the current active block waiting task along with the duration, resource, and wait type. There is an inner join created for sys.dm request MD on the blocking connection session ID. The cross-apply operator is used for the sys.dmexec underscore SQL text. The query determines the identifier of the block and the blocking sessions and display the details. Okay, so task number two, monitor and analyze the on and off issues. So in this task, we will use this one right here to monitor and analyze the on and off issues in the SQL Server databases. We will perform the following operations. Okay, so we will perform this. So you will also generate the performance reports based on the top queries with the total on and off activities of the database. So step number one is we need to create a new query inside the master database. So let's copy this code right here. Copy and then we will need to paste it. So let's click execute. So okay, so this is a system query. The data is retrieved from this one, this CMD. This query will also help to determine the busiest database in terms of data input and output. The, the query displays a file statistic for each database file along with the input slash output information for reads, writes, and total. So as you can see, we have 19 rows affected. So step number two, to view all the results, let's go on the result page. Okay, so there are 19 rows affected, and as you can see, there are a lot of data inside here. So step number three is we need to create a new query. So in the new query, we will need to select execute. So as you can see, there are two rows. Select all from this total slash db underscore ip underscore. Okay. So okay. Step number four is we need to create another query again, and we need to select a page IO latch. So let's execute. Okay, so there are six data inside. There are six page IO latch. Okay. Step number five in the Object Explorer. Right click copy lab SQL01 and then activity monitor. So let's select activity monitor and then data file on and off. Okay. Okay, so as you can see here is the 10 dB model. Okay, so let's fix this. And to generate the on and off report in the Object Explorer, right click the PLAB SQL01, right click and then final report, and then after final report, performance activity, performance activity total. Okay, so let's say here is our performance. Okay, so let's get next. Okay, so exercise number three, which is the last exercise, working with the memory manager. The memory manager component of SQL Server Dynamics determines the allocation of the memory for the database. There are many server configuration options to set up the memory usage such as index, create memory, mean server memory, max worker threads, mean memory per query, and so on. So in this exercise, you will learn how to work with the memory manager component of the SQL Server. Please refer here. Okay, so task number one is optimize the memory configuration. So step number one, we will work on to our master database and then we will need to create a new query. So we need to copy this code right here, copy and then paste. Okay. So select physical memory ID in use as memory used by SQL Server underscore NB. Okay. So step number two, we need to create a new query and then we need to copy this command right here. One of the space and then execute naman. So there are three object names such as SQL Server, Buffer Manager, SQL Server Memory Manager, and SQL Server Memory Manager. Okay. So in the Object Explorer, right click the ELAP SQL01. So let's go to Properties again. And then after the properties in the left hand side, we need to click the memory page maximum. So here in the maximum there are 4096 for gig. And then let's click OK. So in the Object Explorer, right click the lab SQL01 and then let's go to reports and then standard reports. And then let's go to memory consumption. Okay, so here's our memory consumption right here. Okay. So to view the memory usage by the content, scroll down to the memory consumption. So memory consumption. So here's your memory consumption. Okay, so let's click next. Okay, so in this lab, we have learned about working with MDB database, working with dynamic management views, and lastly, it's working with memory manager. So let's click done. Okay, so that's it for optimizing performance database instances part 1. So let's stop the recording.